Imagine you wake up tomorrow and every single screen in your house is glitching the exact same way. Same pixel error, same timestamp. Then you go outside and notice every single person is wearing the exact same color shirt. Would you brush it off, or would you start wondering if the code just broke? That's the kind of question that used to get you laughed out of the room. Now, real scientists are actually running the numbers, and some of what they're finding is starting to look less like science fiction and more like a really well-hidden loading screen. Let's talk about it. Chapter 1. The universe has a resolution limit. Here's something that should mess with your head a little. The universe might not be smooth and continuous like we always assumed. There's a smallest possible distance in reality called the Planck length. It's so small that if you tried to zoom in any closer, space itself stops making sense. It's like trying to zoom into a video game past the pixel grid. Eventually, you just hit the individual blocks. Physicists have known about this for a while, but the simulation crowd started paying attention when they realized something weird. If our reality was being rendered by some kind of computer, you wouldn't waste processing power making everything infinitely detailed. You'd only render what needs to be rendered at the moment. And that's exactly what quantum mechanics seems to suggest is happening. Particles don't have definite positions until you measure them. They exist in a cloud of probability until observation forces them to pick a spot. It's almost like the universe is lazy. It doesn't bother calculating the exact location of every single thing until something is actually looking at it. That's not how a truly physical, analog reality should work. That's how optimized code works. And it gets weirder. There are actual papers where physicists have tried to find the pixel size of the universe by looking at how high energy particles behave. Some of them think they've already found hints that space might be made of tiny discrete chunks, not because nature decided to be chunky, but because whatever is running, this thing has a maximum resolution. Chapter 2. The glitches we all remember. You ever have that moment where you swear something happened a certain way, only to find out it didn't? Not like you misremembered a detail, like the entire timeline of an event is different in your head than what everyone else says. That's the Mandela effect, named after the fact that a huge number of people distinctly remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 80s, even though he didn't. He was released, became president, and died in 2013. But thousands of people have the same false memory of his funeral happening decades earlier. It's not just Mandela. People remember the Monopoly man having a monocle. He never did. They remember Pikachu's tail having a black tip. It doesn't. They remember the line in Star Wars being, "Luke, I am your father." It's actually, "No, I am your father." Now, the boring explanation is just that human memory is trash, and we're all bad at remembering details. But here's where it gets interesting for the simulation theory. If this reality is being rendered on demand, small inconsistencies could slip through during updates. Like when a video game patches something but old save files still have the old version floating around in people's heads. Some people have even reported glitch in the Matrix moments. Seeing the same stranger multiple times in completely different places within minutes, or objects disappearing and reappearing. Most of the time, it's probably just brain static, but every once in a while, the stories line up a little too perfectly across unrelated people. Chapter 3. The math that says we're probably simulated. Back in 2003, a philosopher named Nick Bostrom dropped a paper that changed how a lot of smart people think about this. His argument is actually pretty simple once you break it down. If any civilization ever reaches the point where they can run ancestor simulations, meaning they can simulate entire universes with conscious beings inside them, then they will almost certainly run a ton of them. Because why wouldn't they? it would be the ultimate historical research tool, entertainment, or even a way to test different scenarios. Once that happens, the number of simulated realities would vastly outnumber the number of base realities. Which means statistically, if you're a conscious being experiencing a reality, you're almost certainly inside one of the simulations rather than the original. It's not, maybe someday someone will simulate us. It's, if simulation is possible at all, then almost every conscious experience that will ever happen is already inside a simulation. And here's the part that actually keeps physicists up at night. We're getting closer to being able to run those simulations ourselves. Chapter 4, the observer effect and rendering lag. This is the one that really gets people. In quantum mechanics, there's something called the observer effect. Basically, particles behave differently when they're being measured versus when they're not. Electrons fired through a double slit create an interference pattern when nobody's watching. Like they're going through both slits at once. The second you try to measure which slit they went through, the pattern disappears and they start acting like normal particles again. The classic explanation is that measurement disturbs the system, but some physicists have started wondering if it's less about disturbance and more about the universe only bothering to calculate the outcome when something is paying attention. In other words, it's not rendering the full scene until a conscious observer shows up. There was even a real experiment a few years back where scientists delayed the choice of whether to measure something until after the particle had already passed through the slits. And the result still changed, based on a measurement that hadn't happened yet when the particle made its decision. That one still breaks my brain a little. If this is a simulation, that makes perfect sense. The computer doesn't waste resources calculating every possible path until something actually needs to know the answer. It's the ultimate optimization hack, putting it all together. So let's zoom out for a second. We've got a universe that seems to have a maximum resolution. We've got memory glitches that affect large groups of people the same way. We've got math that says if advanced simulations are possible, we're probably already inside one. And we've got quantum behavior that looks suspiciously like lazy rendering. None of this proves we're in a simulation, but it also doesn't prove we're not, and that's the uncomfortable part. Because once you start noticing how many things line up with this might be code, it's hard to unsee. The good news is that even if this is a simulation, it doesn't mean nothing matters. If anything, it might mean the opposite. The fact that you're here experiencing it, questioning it, maybe even enjoying the weirdness of it, that could be the point. Or it could just be really good world building. Either way, the simulation, if that's what this is, gave you a brain that can notice the patterns. Might as well use it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far, you're probably already one of the glitch-aware ones. Hit subscribe if you want more of these, and as always, trust me, bro.